Hello, everyone. It is with such utter pleasure and pride that I present to you my guest for today. I have been harping on all about why you need to embrace your ugly and you need to flaunt your ugly, but I haven't found a more perfect role model for this phenomena than Nicole Walters, who is my guest today. And I'm going to tell you more about her. But first of all, thank you so much, Nicole, for gracing us with your presence.
Oh my gosh, this is my joy. I'm so excited I get to be here. And honestly, it's meant to be because I have never met anyone who has as much energy as I do.
Okay, so this will be interesting. People, I think if you are, no matter where you are, tie yourself to a chair because I don't want you to be blown out. We set the screen on fire. But I'm hoping this would be one of those interviews where I would shut up and let her lead this, because you, Nicole, are the embodiment of two principles that I teach in everything when it comes to persuasion. One is embrace your ugly, flaunt your ugly, embrace your imperfections. The second one is entertainment. It's even in your bio, the element of entertainment. And I will be talking more about this, but first we need to make sure that the sound is okay and people can hear and see us okay. So guys, if you can see us and hear us okay, please let us know in the comments. And also, and more importantly, share this broadcast. And I'm going to share this broadcast because this is, something tells me this will be one of my most favorite broadcasts ever.
Good.
And you found us midway. So we are on day 15 of 30 Days of Persuasion. And it is so awesome for Nicole to have agreed to join us. Okay, I'm just going to quickly see that the sound is okay.
Cool.
Everything seems to be fine. Okay, everyone can see you. Hey, everyone. Yes, Sabine, thank you, darlings. Thank you, Deepa. Oh my God, so you already have fans in there.
Oh, geez.
Awesome. Okay, guys, please share this broadcast. I have a very strong feeling that this will blow you away. So, Nicole.
Yeah.
You are an entertaining person in real life, right? We know that. As in, we can tell. But what made you, so you come from a corporate background. You work with Fortune 500 companies.
Yep.
And typically entertainment is not the kind of thing that you see in that culture. So what made you want to make that as a core part of your brand?
Sure. So I can definitely say that, coming from corporate, obviously there's no room for fun. And I was in DC corporate, which means you only ever wear blue, black, or gray. Like, it's super boring. So I always found an outlet on the side. I had a blog that was all about hair and beauty and things like that, but I always kept it light and fun and just had a good time. So that was kind of my outlet. But, the reality is I am who I am. So if I'm not able to be this all the time, then I knew I wasn't aligned in the right job. And it made sense. When I finally quit, I was like, you know what? I'm not going to parcel my life out into where I'm big and fancy on camera and then, a hot mess express behind the scenes. Like, you're going to get me at a hot mess express on camera because
hot mess express.
Yes, that's right. That's me. The train's rolling in, hot mess express. Like, every time.
Oh my God, I love that. And so it was a conscious decision because you wanted to keep it genuine. Yeah,
it's just easier. I mean, like, I intend on being in business for the long run. So because of that, I don't want to pretend to be polished. Like, this is probably the most together my life has ever been. But I was just telling you before we got on here, 5 seconds before, throwing on a wig, drawing on my eyebrows, it was I'm like, I can't, are they the same? Like, I wore this shirt yesterday. So I was like smelling it. Like, is it good? Do I have pit stains? Will they show? Like, it's just a disaster. But the reality of it all is, like, this is what it is for most of us. So if we're pretending like it's not, we're actually disconnecting and losing our audience because people don't want perfect. That's the truth.
Oh my God, I love that. And so it's so funny to me because you embraced it and you wear it with pride. That's what I love about it. So there are people who I see, they also embrace their ugly, but there is this, it comes with a sense of embarrassment. They're embarrassed about, I'm sorry, I couldn't, and I used to be the same before. When I started, I come from a culture and again, a corporate background where you had to be, you had to get your shit together all the time, right? Yeah. So I obviously, when I started, I was embarrassed, but I love that you embraced it with such pride. Like, I'm proud of the fact that I had to draw on my eyebrows and then make sure that they match.
Right. Well, the first thing I like to always say about that is that should let my clients and my audience know how much I respect them. The fact that I even took time to draw on my eyebrows, which is, they're the most trustworthy part of my face. I literally could have not done that. So I just want to let you know, if you think I'm good with your business, this is the start of the fact that I care, that I put on a wig and drew my eyebrows on. So right there, credibility, all in my face.
Yeah, like, I care. I
right
care
there,
about
you know, credibility. We actually care. Okay, so that's the first part. But the reality is, I come from a similar culture. So like, my parents are from Ghana, West Africa, and my mom is constantly telling me about how like I need to get my life together, and my dad is always telling me like entrepreneur equals, you know, unemployed. So like literally, like they're constantly telling me like, oh my gosh, you know, I remember going to college and bringing home like, you know, B's and A's, and my parents saying like, oh, so you don't want to be a doctor? Oh, you don't want to be a lawyer? None of this matters to you. You are okay with failing your entire life. No man will ever take you if you don't know how to iron bed sheets. You know, like, I mean, there's like, everything had flaws. So if you don't have a grain of salt with it, if you can't take it with a grain of salt, if you can't laugh about it, then you wouldn't get very far. So that's what I brought to my business. I was like, I know I'm going to mess up, and I need to be ready to laugh at it so everyone else will laugh at it with me.
Oh, this is so perfect. This is so perfect. Oh my God. I thought I was the only one who excelled at making fun of my own accent.
It's the only way we can live.
Okay. And so now let's talk about, so you have so two things. Three things, sorry. So you have a super successful business, which we're going to talk about in a bit. You also have a super successful fan following, which, by the way, it's not the same thing. So a lot of people would say, oh, you know, if you have a business, then that means that you have a loyal following. No. There are people who would just buy from someone once and then run, right? Mm-hmm. So you have both. You have a super successful business, and then you have a super loyal fan following, because I remember you saying this with absolute confidence. I don't know what we were talking about last time we talked, and you said, I know they will buy. So that sheer confidence in your people that they will buy, as in, it's not like maybe they will buy. It's like they will buy.
Right.
That is really amazing to me. And I want to talk about that. And then thirdly, you also had a few of your videos go viral. And those videos are, I want to know whether it was a conscious planning on your part or whether it happened. And then if you were to replicate that, if you were to replicate all of those three elements, a successful business, a super successful fan following, and then thirdly, the viral video sensation that you became, can you replicate that? Can you predict that? And if yes, then how?
Sure. Wow, that is loaded. Okay, so I will address each one piece by piece. So the first part about the successful business, you know, that is fortunately from corporate, right? Coming in, you know, having built multi-billion-dollar corporations, you know, switching to everyday entrepreneurs was a lot easier and a lot more fun. So I just brought all the tools and strategies that I'd applied, you know, growing assets under management from 2 million to 200 million. And I just took those same strategies and packaged them for entrepreneurs. Easy peasy. The next part, though, of having a following or having, you know, what I call my rich friends, you know, as part of my community, that part was really, it was organic, but it was intentional. I knew that one of the things I wanted to do was, when I came into this, apply some of the things customer service wise that I didn't find existing in corporate, because small business entrepreneurs are different and they need to be handled differently. And we're all very intimately connected to our business. It's not like a mass corporation where, you know, all the customers are assigned numbers, you know, and they're not really, they're faceless, if you will, or at least that's how they're treated. In this business, it's not like that. You need to know people's names and you need to know how to connect, and it benefits you to be able to reference those sorts of things. So, you know, what I did in the very beginning and what I try to continue doing now is I'm very intimate, I'm very hands-on, and, you know, I keep case files on each of my students so that I'm able to check in on them and see what's going on with their families and their homes and their lives and all those things outside of just working within the business. Yeah, one of the things I learned very quickly when I got into this space is that it can get very loud. And if you want to differentiate yourself, the one place no one can ever beat you is on hard work. And that is your biggest disruptor. So that was the thing that I said, no one's going to beat me on hard work and service. I will always be the person that people say, Nicole cares about her people. She shows up every day. She over delivers. And as long as I do that, I'll always have a place and I'll always get paid for it.
I love what you just said, because there's this one of my favorite quotes from Will Smith where he said, we both get on our treadmill. The only what does it say? Say I will die on that treadmill.
Right. It's like who's going to get off first is the point.
Yeah. Who's going to get? So I will die on that treadmill. So I love that. I love that note. And also, I think what you said here was because in online space everyone is shouting. So really, the only differentiator is instead of going wide, you go deep. I love the idea about keeping a file on all your students. That is
I took that from corporate. That wasn't like, innovative, but in corporate, you have like a file where you know what's going on with your students. So I'll pop into that file screenshots from Facebook so that way, if something comes up, I'm able to reference like, oh, we talked about this earlier. How did you follow up on this? And whenever I have a free moment, I'll scroll through there and I'll say, right, so-and-so had this going on with their son. Let me give them a quick call and see how they're doing, things like that. And if something comes up, I'll put it on my calendar to follow up with them to make a call, and just doing that sort of, humane connection, is part of distinguishing yourself in a space where people really can feel like just one of the many followers. And I just think that that's just how I do business, how I'd want to be treated. So, but I also think that there's been a direct correlation between that and the growth, because every single one of my students then becomes a brand evangelist. They're able to talk about, I'm giving them things to talk about. So, sure, they can talk about the course and the content, but that sounds like the same conversation that they're having about someone else's course. Whereas when they have an experience that they can talk about, then they're now able to share a story about the time that Nicole Walters called them to check if their son was okay, or the time that Nicole Walters checked in to see, if the baby had been delivered yet. These are the conversations that you want people to have, because they sound different to other people's ears. And I found that that's been a huge differentiator and distinguishing characteristic in my business.
Oh my God. And that you kind of answered the first two questions. That is the reason you have people following you around. Like I would follow around someone who has a jar of Nutella. Like it's crazy. Why would they not? If I ever received a call from someone, and I've bought courses, no one ever calls me. It's
right. It's just like a deeper relationship. And I mean, so I think that helps my business a lot. What's difficult is that keeping that scalable. So I'm always looking for new and innovative ways to make sure I can still do that. And it's still working as I scale my business. And what I can say confidently is, I'm in the 7-figure mark. So if I'm in the 7-figure mark and still able to do it, there's zero excuse if you're at the early 6-figure mark to not answer your emails and pick up the phone and call.
Can we please not shame me on my own show? Can you please stop with the shaming?
Look, just make 4 phone calls today.
I'm totally stealing this. Tara, who's here? Tara, Nicole, you can send some package courses to Nicole, because she just added to your workload and my workload, because I think you're right.
Oh, I know.
We say all the time, I care about my people. I care, but this means that you actually care.
Yeah, I just think I gotta say this, we get paid a stupid amount of money to do what we do. Like, that's the thing that I keep in mind. Not only do I love it, but we're making crazy amounts of money. And when I break that down into like hourly allotments, I'm like, man, if I'm over here making $1,500, $3,000 an hour, I probably could do a 5-minute phone call. I could probably squeeze it in.
Okay, point taken. Thank you for shaming me into it. Well, let's move on, because
let's move on.
Let's pretend I do the same. Yeah, Nicole, I do the same. I call everyone. Okay, let's move on. But completely point taken. I am totally 100%. I'm committing to this, to everyone on camera. Nicole Walters just gave me the missing puzzle. I have been wanting to do something more tangible to show that I care, and she just gave it to me. So I'm totally.
But you do care, though. You have like a big heart for this business, and you do care about your people because of the quality of content you bring them. It's transparent, it's real, and that's step one. When it comes to the service part, we all do what we can, so maybe my content isn't as fancy as yours, and your graphics look really great, and like I said, your eyebrows are even. So your
eyebrows. The reason the reason we're having this conversation is because she approved my eyebrows. So when we got connected, she Googled me and she said, okay, I'm just gonna
This will work.
Eyebrows work. she's going to come on the show. If the eyebrows don't work, I'm so glad I had them drawn on correctly, because I also do not possess any eyebrows. I need to draw them on. That's how much I care.
I'm mad.
Okay, let's talk about your viral video sensation. It's a beautiful thing to watch. It's very off the cuff. It's so fucking real. It blows my mind, and it's hilarious, and it's real, and it's just the perfect combo. And I'm not going to name any names, but people constantly try to make viral videos. We hear that, let's make our video viral. I'm going to give you the formula for a viral video. And then you happened, which like none of the factors are there, but the video still went viral. So let's talk about that. What in your gut do you think made that happen?
Sure. So I think that the first thing that everyone should note is that viral videos will never happen when you're looking perfect. It's rare. It will almost always be when you're a hot mess, when you look disgusting, when your face is gross, when you're not wearing a bra. Like, these are the times that viral videos happen. So that's recipe number one. You know, it's never going to be your good content where you're extra brilliant and everything's put together. So that's just how that works. But I had 2 viral videos in a 3-week time span, one that had 5.5 million views and another one that's inching up towards 20. And I know it's crazy, right? And it wasn't intentional. You know, I didn't have a ton of followers on my Facebook page. I mean, I did have 17,000, which isn't a little bit, but you know, I went up to over 100,000 followers, you know, during this time span. And I will say that what happens is whenever I turn on a camera, whenever I turn on my phone, whenever I go live, it is with intent. So even though I am getting on there to just share a blip in the moment or something that's going on, it's still intentional, where I will always start off introducing myself. Like, my name is Nicole Walters of NicoleWalters.tv, and I'm a hot mess and I'm about to take my kid to the bus stop. Let's see how this plays out. Do you know what I mean? Like, and then I'll proceed to share. So when it comes to sharing my content, oftentimes it isn't a content calendar. Neither one of those viral videos was, but what I did was I was being true to going live consistently every day. And I think that is the biggest thing in the viral video world. If you consistently create content, something will go viral. And I think that, and especially if your content is good, real, authentic, and true to you, and if it's relatable and or controversial, you will go viral. And the thing about it is, what happens is people may have relatable or controversial stuff that they share, but they're not consistent with their content. Or they may be consistent with their content, but they're afraid to push it to the point where they're either vulnerable or relatable, or where they're willing to talk about things that may not be popular. You know, and if you're not willing to embrace both of those things, consistency with the vulnerability and the controversiality, then you're not going to get.
Just give us a formula. Okay, I'm just going to sum that formula up, because I think this is a genius formula. So we have 3 elements, and this sounds wrong, but we have 3 elements. We have the consistency, we have the polarity, right? Controversial. And then we have the third one, which is relatability. Oh my God, that's like, that is, so those of you who know me from before, please believe me when I say this. I did not steal this from Nicole. I promise this was my own formula, but she just summed it up. And I think this is the best viral video formula I've ever come across. It is not, and none of these 3 things are actually perfect video production, right?
Oh yeah, they're not. I mean, it's not ring lights. It's not Steven Spielberg. It's not pyrotechnics. It's not a look or a set or anything like that. I mean, the most important one out of all of it is consistency. You know, if people can't find you, they can't pay you. So if you're not out there putting out your content every single day, how on earth do you expect to get anywhere? And I think that is probably the biggest factor. So people wonder why they don't go viral, but it's because you don't go live. That's the answer.
I think this is brilliant. I think this is brilliant because, again, you're giving a very simple, okay, obviously there's a 4th formula, you know, no bra, but I don't know whether I'd probably topple over if I'm not wearing a bra. I'm barely holding it together.
Right, barely.
And I'm sure, you know, we're both blessed ladies, so I'm sure.
Yes. I try not to sit on them if I'm braless. I'm like, I got to be careful. Things aren't where they used to be in my 20s. So,
but it's a good thing. It's like it serves as a tripod as well, you know, when needed.
We are a disaster. Listen, Bushra, we are a disaster. These poor people, they're like, we came here for business. What is wrong with you? Eyebrows and no bras? What is this? Like,
this is exactly what they're here for. And I love that. I love what you said about this formula because, again, we all have opinions that we hide, we hide them, and we don't share those opinions because we fear that there's going to be backlash. You are the queen of causing a stir, right? Talking about things that, especially when it comes to being a parent, right? That people don't like to openly admit.
They don't.
And you are so vocal about it, and this will ruffle feathers, this will tickle noses, but you still do it. And there is a strategy behind it. Yeah.
Yeah, well, to some extent, I mean, I will say that one of the things that I always try to do in my community is I call it sharing the expert status. And I'm sure you have a technical term in your book for it because you're actually a professional, but, sharing meaning I may be the expert about all things business, but I don't pretend to be an expert about all things everything. And
oh my God, you're my twin. What the fuck? Okay, please go on, because
so because of that, I have no problem being vulnerable and saying, hey, can you guys help me out with something? Because I don't know all the things. And the biggest thing I turn to my community for is parenting, because I adopted my girls. I've only been a parent for about 3 years, and I consider myself successful because they're still alive. But I'm sure there's other ways to be a better parent. So, I'm constantly going to my audience and my community and saying, hey guys, I almost dropped my 3-year-old in the toilet. There's probably an answer for this. Can you help me? And in doing that, and being willing to have conversations saying, hey, I don't know if this is popular or not, but this is kind of how we're doing it, and we feel good about it. Well, parenting is very controversial, and people will always have their opinions. And I'm grateful to some extent to hear those opinions, because I learn things and allows me to evolve as a parent. But then on the other side, some of it is just garbage, and people do say negative things. And I just kind of chalk that up as all right, so going viral gets you both things. But at the end of the day, it's that conversation that happens that drives traffic to your business.
Oh my God, I love this note. And I am going to, even though what you shared is absolute bloody gold, I will say this, and I'm just I don't even know what episode that was, but I mentioned that somewhere. And when you said it, I realized that it makes sense. So I was talking about charisma, and one of the things that I mentioned in charisma was that when you're trying to build yourself as a charismatic leader, it's not always to impress others. It's always to let others impress you. And what you just said is giving your community an opportunity to help you out, to impress you, because when you allow that opportunity, you make them look good. And we all love people who make us look good.
Right. Yeah. Absolutely. And I also keep my kids alive, and so it's a balance. It's a win-win situation, so I definitely 100% have full intent whenever I'm out there with my community saying, hey, and there have been real moments too, where they've actually helped me with things that have helped my children. So things we had a birthday party for my 6-year-old recently, and it didn't even occur to me that she was going to get 22 Barbie dolls. And I was like, we don't want that in the house. It's so much. And people were like, oh, make it a book theme. Tell people you just want books. And I was like, thank you, and they also told me that parents will leave their kids at the party and then walk away and then go away and then come back late and just treat it as a spa day, which I was like, 1, that's not happening to my kid's birthday. And 2, I'm doing that to all of the parents. So I was like, this is so valuable. Thank you, So
oh my God, I love this.
It works. My community is my parenting experts, and in exchange, we exchange money, and then of course I share with them business stuff, and it works out beautifully. I'm really blessed.
I cannot believe what a great conversation this is. So and another thing that I will. So we talk about vulnerability. We talk about being relatable. We talk about kind of sharing that expert status. Is there any specific situation where you don't recommend doing that? So you've chosen parenting, right? But
so one of the places I don't really, I will say that as a transparent person by nature, everything is pretty much out there. I talk about all the things, whether it's the numbers behind my business or my parenting and stuff. But as transparent as I am, there are things I don't discuss. So, everything in my house is a conversation. If my kids are not okay with something being shared, we don't share it. I also don't share things until after they've had a conclusion. So that's kind of a rule of thumb. I don't share things when I'm still in it, because oftentimes it's just stressful for people where it's I have this problem and I don't know what to do. And they're just kind of in the mess with you, and so I'm careful about that. I do that infrequently. And I also think that part of being a professional and being an expert is, providing solutions. So go through the experience and come on and tell the story. And I think that that's where people are able to actually take something away from it. So being vulnerable is not being afraid to share that story, but having confidence in sharing that story is knowing that you actually came through it. And that's where it has value to other people.
This is such a genius point that I have to repeat it because it's such a genius point. So I hear a lot of people who would say, okay, yeah, Bushra, we want to be vulnerable. We want to be relatable. We want to share our, kind of imperfections, but we're scared that it might devalue our authority. It might make us look weak. So what you just said is genius. When you are just starting out and you're trying to establish yourself as the authority and you're not comfortable sharing your struggles as you're going through them, why not go through them, learn the lesson, and then share the lesson and the story so that when you do, you still share your vulnerability, but you end it, you round it up with, I came on the top. I won. Right. It's such a great.
People love the story. People love the story of a hero, and I think that also in this space, you get a little bit too much of people coming in and still trying to teach while they're still in it, and not get into the results. And honestly, it distinguishes you. It lets you rise to the top. It shows you as somebody who takes your craft seriously because you're not trying to sell while you're still in it. You're selling while you've gotten through it,
yes. That's another very interesting, controversial topic.
Yeah.
Next viral video, unless I steal that idea and stab you in the back and steal and run with that idea, could be about, you don't necessarily have to sell while you're going through it, just go through it, get off that death ledge and then share the lesson and then share the story and then share your vulnerability. Absolutely.
Sure.
Unfortunately,
and it is controversial. Some people are very like pre-sell or, do it while you're in it, just dive right in, do it afraid. And I do think that there's a difference between doing it when you're aware that you have, anxiety about it or you're a little nervous, but sometimes that fear is letting us know we have preparation to do, and you don't need to just dive in crazy, go through it, do your research and then get out there. So it's a fine balance. But what I found is you're almost never in it alone, and you attract the people that are going to respect and learn from your story. So I haven't really shared too much that that has made people say like, oh my gosh, no, I'm not interested in her. And then the people who did react that way, like, I'm glad that they're gone because you don't get me, you don't get my family, and you're not really, I don't have to share, like you don't deserve to get all the awesomeness that we are. Because,
oh my God, I love this attitude. I love this attitude. Dude, I love this attitude. So, okay, so there's so many lessons for me, so many personal development lessons for me. I feel like this was a therapy session, but thank you so much. I needed that therapy. But honestly, when someone leaves you or if someone ditches you because you're too much or too much of anything.
Yeah, we say too much because we know that's the number one reason people leave us. It's not because if someone leaves you because they didn't like you crying, that's not us. They leave us because we are too much.
Yes. I honestly, I was talking to, as in every time I do something, I'm like, now I've stopped asking myself. It's like, was I too much? I'm like, that's a standard response.
I'm so extra. I'm the most. What's going on? Oh my gosh.
It is always too much. Let's just assume it is always too much. But it's such a good way to, when someone unsubscribes, when someone leaves your group, when someone, doesn't enroll in your program or asks for a refund, 99% of the time, it is because you are too much. And there should be an approach of good riddance because you don't deserve it. Sometimes it is, sometimes there are other reasons, personal reasons, but if it is because I'm too much, then it's actually a good thing.
I'm okay with that. And also we talked about, in the very beginning of this, the importance of service. So for me, if someone's like, I just can't, or I don't know if I'm ready, or, something like that, like to some extent, I may talk certain people through it, but for the most part, I'm like, well, all right, I've got this many people over here that are ready and that do have their hands up. And the way that I serve, all you've done is free up more time so I can serve them even deeper. So for instance, I always joke in my mastermind, like, in my community, they don't give, or my membership group, they don't give up their seats. Like we have a churn ratio of less than 3% because people don't leave. And the reason they don't leave is because they're like, you're going to have to kill me to get out of this spot because of the type of service that we get in this community. And I always say, the more people that decide to leave, if the group ever gets cut down to half, then the people who remain are just going to get even better service. You know what I mean? Like if the group ever leaves, hey, now it's all, hey, come over to my house. Like there's only a few of us, let's all have dinner. Oh, there's only a few of us, let's go do this. So it really does. it benefits you because it means that you can use your time in an even more effective, both fiscally and emotionally way.
I cannot believe I finally met someone who's more inspiring to me than myself. But this is awesome, to have this kind of a following, to have this kind of loyalty where people are afraid to give up their seats. This is what we should all aspire to be. It should not be about, there's this, in internet marketing, there's this term, a win-back campaign. And people say that, like, you have a membership site, so when people leave, do you have a win-back campaign? And I'm like, hell no.
I'm like, no, why would I want to do that?
If someone leaves, then and for me, because it's a super low price membership, people leave and then they come back. They leave and then they come back. I'm like, I'm not going to win them back. I love that approach. I love that ideology. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh my God. Tell us about the launch that you're going through right now. I see it in my newsfeed. It's such a great product.
Yes.
And I want you to share that with my people. So tell us about that.
Thank you so much. So I'm excited about it because I fortunately don't run a launch dependent business, meaning I've got multiple streams of income. So I launch kind of when I feel like it. And this year I haven't launched publicly yet my wildly popular course, 1K One Day Academy. So 1K One Day Academy is really just a fundamental fill in the gaps course. So it takes you from where you may have learned everything online and virtually, and I show people how to apply corporate strategies in order to increase the profitability or create it in their business. So oftentimes we are building businesses focused on popularity. A lot of what we've talked about here, where you're saying to yourself, I need tons of followers. I need, all the fame. I need all these people to come in. So you have pretty Instagrams and you have awesome content. But the issue there is now what, and it's not just what products that they buy, but are you using the fundamental payment processors and structure and the right tools in order to have the income stream so that people pay you? So I've landed on so many beautiful websites and so many beautiful Instagram pages. And I'm like, what do they sell and how can I buy from them? And I can't because their pages are not set up in a way for me to give you money. So this is strictly one of those courses that's about just making money. And I teach you 3 different income streams so that you know how to do that. So you walk out of the course with 3 ways to actually be profitable and increase profitability in your business. So we're in the middle of our 7th launch of this. Everyone's calling it lucky number 7, and this course has sold out in as little as 4 minutes before. So we actually did this. I know it's crazy. Like we sold out in 4 minutes, and we opened up some spots because we knew that we'd be sold out this weekend. And I was like, Bushra, like, if we're going to talk about it all, if we're going to bring it up to your people at all, I don't want them to feel like, I'm talking about something awesome and they can't get in. And I didn't want you to get yelled at if they're like, what's the website? And there were no spots. And why would you even do that? So there are some spots that are still available. I can't promise that they'll be available through the weekend.
Link, give us the link.
Right. The link is 1K1day.com. 1 like the number. So 1K1day.com. If you go there, if there is a spot available, you'll see that it'll say enroll now. You can click on it.
Genius positioning. I love the positioning. And actually, someone has a question that I wanted to ask, which Lisa, when you were talking about your mastermind or your membership site, you said you were talking about your members not leaving a spot. So how many members do you have in there?
I have 500 members in my community.
Actually, someone already answered that, but excellent. Okay, so she has 500 members. And see, none of those people actually want to leave a spot. This is so This has been such an utter pleasure. You made my entire week. Thank you. Thank you so much for showing up.
Thank you for making the time and letting me meet your awesome people because they're so cool. And at least they're not going to think I'm too much.
Finally, someone, well, not actually your people do. I'm pretty sure or maybe they've grown immune to the too muchness.
So used to it.
I think that's what happened. They've grown a thick skin to the too muchness that's you. But
they
you
love
are
it.
absolutely inspiring. You're so absolutely heartwarming. Thank you
so much. You're so sweet.
Showing up today.
Thank you for letting me be in your brilliance. I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. You take care, guys. Please go check out Nicole's website. Tara, just drop a link. We will also pin it to the top. This is Nicole's time. So please go check out her book, her program. My book is still available. You can go check it out anytime. But today is Nicole's day. So please go check out her website, her sales page, and her product. And I will see you tomorrow, same time, with probably less makeup because now I'm tired with all the makeup. Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye.